Hello and welcome to your flip video lesson for 2.03 Napoleon from Revolution to Empire. This goes along with your Human Odyssey reading pages 385 to 399 and then your student guide pages 251 to 261. So do make sure that you have those out and ready to go. Lesson introduction: Napoleon from Revolution to Empire. Napoleon, some would say, he was a great military genius, a reformer, a man of the people, and the savior of the French Revolution. Others would claim he was a power-hungry military aggressor, dictator, and tyrant. Could both descriptions of Napoleon be accurate? Learning objectives for this lesson. Many of these objectives are covered in detail in the readings from your Human Odyssey book, pages 385 to 399. We just simply can't get enough of the details in these flip videos, so do make sure that you are doing your required readings that go along with these videos. Describe Napoleon's reforms and their significance to the people of France. Describe the continental system and the consequences of imposing the system. Explain how Napoleon was able to finance wars and win territory. Explain the reasons for Napoleon's invasion of Russia and his failure to defeat Russia. Identify on a map major physical and political features of Europe. Recognize the effects of Napoleon's rule on Europe. Summarize the events that led to Napoleon's defeat at Waterloo, and summarize the major steps in Napoleon's rise to power. So this is where we start the actual writing down in your student guide. So please open your student guide to page 253, and these cover questions number 1, 2, and 3. Napoleon in the beginning. Napoleon was born on the Mediterranean island of Corsica and later lived in the French capital of Paris. Napoleon, the soldier, gained political power by first gaining military power. He rose through the ranks of the army at the beginning of the Revolution. He helped put down a royalist uprising in Paris, and he took command of a new French army in Italy. How did Napoleon rise from first consul to emperor? He dominated the other consuls, and he had himself made consul for life. Then he and his collaborators proclaimed him as emperor. Napoleon's improvements and military requirements. Napoleon made several reforms that improved the lives of the people of France. He created a civil service system that rewarded talent, improved sidewalk, sewers, and water supply in Paris. He provided a unified legal system, made new markets and quays along the Seine, a new system of roads, new theaters, an efficient postal service, and improved schools. Napoleon had a large military service in mind for his people. He made it mandatory for military service and required citizen soldiers. Power begins with economics, and this covers number 6 through 10 in your student guide. So if you take a look at that map over there on the right-hand side, you can see this continental system that formed, which we're going to talk about here on this slide. The French owned territory, land in America known as Louisiana. Napoleon sold it to the United States to help pay for his wars. To attack the island of Britain, Napoleon had to cross the English Channel. To defeat Britain, Napoleon devised a continental system which banned Europeans from buying and selling with the island nation. So he banned buying and selling who were trade dependent with pretty much everyone. Portugal and Spain from southwestern Europe refused to participate in the continental system. Portugal and Spain made up the Iberian Peninsula. Russia and the continental system. Russia tried to break away from the continental system. When the Royal Navy defeated the French fleet, Napoleon marched his armies all the way across Europe to invade Russia. To build up his enormous army for the invasion of Russia, Napoleon raised soldiers from the conquered territories as well as from France. Napoleon invaded Russia because he wanted to encourage Alexander I to stop trading with the British merchants. It was not because the Russians would not let Napoleon put his brother on the Russian throne. Napoleon made it all the way to Moscow, the Russian capital. To defeat Napoleon, the Russians refused to meet the French in battle. Instead, they retreated before the advancing invaders, burning their own villages and fields to prevent the French from finding food and supplies. This covers number 17 through 19. Napoleon was defeated and pushed out, exiled, to the island of Elba. So at the end of the French Revolution, Napoleon escaped from he was banned to this island of Elba. And then this kind of picks up with where he was banned. So after he was banned and sent to this island of Elba after the French Revolution, he escaped the island of Elba and raised an army in Paris and tried to defeat the British before the Prussians arrived on the field of battle. Napoleon gave the conquered peoples of Europe a unified legal system known as the Napoleonic Code. However, many Europeans resented being ruled by Napoleon, whom they regarded as a tyrant. After defeating Napoleon, the Allies redrew the border of Europe at a Congress, or meeting of their leaders. Congress was held in the European city of Vienna. Explore and discuss. So go ahead and you can answer these questions with your thoughts and then be prepared to discuss them during class time and with your learning coach. History is full of what ifs. What if Napoleon had been defeated in Italy? What if the continental system had worked? What if the French had won the Battle of Trafalgar? What if the Prussians had been delayed at Waterloo? What if Napoleon had never been born? In what ways would history have been different? Do you think someone else would have done what Napoleon did, and why? The French Revolution began as a struggle for the rights of people against a single ruler with all the power. It ended by giving all the power to another single ruler. Why do you think that happened? There are several other optional pages within this within this lesson. Please complete this on your own if you would like. These are not required. Okay, so these are on pages 251 to 252, and then pages 256 to 261. So when you're watching this on your own, if you'd like to stop and pause the video, you may do that. This is the map on page 256. So this is it filled in. Yours is not filled in on page 256. So if you'd like to take a pause here and do that, you may do so. And then these are the questions that go along with the map on page 256. Again, you can pause this and you can stop and you can use this to answer in the questions. Okay. I'll go ahead and keep moving through that for this video sake. And then say what? This is optional. So there was a chart in your student guide. So there was, I am the revolution, who said that? And the answer is Napoleon. What's the meaning? Napoleon said this about his own role. So again, obviously it's hard to see on this video, but there are in the flip video in your OMS and on the class Padlet, the slides are there. So you can pause these slides and stop them, and you can fill in the answers so you have that complete. So we come to the end. Never interrupt your enemy when he is making a mistake. Napoleon Bonaparte. Thank you for joining me.